get so distracted.
That's what I'm hoping. People will stay on a little longer. What? We're live. We're here. And I'm just going to very quickly put the Patreon link into the... Talking so slowly. Just try and feel
No, I
time.
weren't giggling about that. I just was holding in. I wanted to be like,
No, go ahead. Pledge to the people. Please and thank yous. And if you can't, just a quick like and subscribe before we even get into it. We'll sit and wait because it's so easy to forget. I always forget to like videos. So
no.
it's
Remember the saying, be there or be square. I never understood that.
when people do that at the same time as well. Like, okay.
Yeah, but we're a square peg in a round hole. So is that right? I am square.
When we start talking about, yeah, I feel like I've just taken a load of acid where it's like, am I a square? Am I?
Welcome.
Yeah, it might be a little bit early for this, but give us a few minutes. We'll be straight into it because that's what the beauty of ADHD brains. So yeah, in the chat, we have linked to the Patreon if you'd like to go over there and subscribe for £1 is the first tier. That gets you access to Discord, which is coming tomorrow, and a ton of other stuff, including a monthly prize draw. But there's other tiers that get you a load more cool perks. So go and have a look, see if anything interests you.
And has anyone seen my little series of things you can get for £1 and under?
I am loving it. I'm realizing because you've made me look round when I go to the shop how much is under £1 or £1.
There's that much anymore, which is what inspired me to do it. Because when I first got a flat, years ago, and I was on really poor money when I first started out teaching, and I used to only buy things if they were £1 or under. Now I'd be starved to death because there hardly is anything that's £1 or under.
I know what you mean. I used to go around Tesco's like, oh, it's £1. I couldn't do that now.
That's why quite a funny series, hopefully. Like every now and again, I'm like, oh, I'm going to see what there is for £1 and under in here.
Then like a chocolate bar, right? Like just a slab of dairies is at least £1.25.
Yeah.
The cheapest.
Did you do on the £1.25 theory?
Yes.
Because it is. Everything is £1.25 now.
New £1.
Yeah, it must be the new £1.
I understand inflation. There's not really a ring to it. When stuff was £1, you're like, deal. Or 99p, you're like, deal.
That's the thing, yeah.
125, you're like, that's 25p more than I was really wanting to pay.
Exactly. It's next pound that I was going to buy something with.
Now there's only...
before we raise the Patreon to £1.25 for the pledge. Put yourself a bond.
Yeah, oh my word. Understanding that our Patreon stands strong against inflation, we will not be. Not right now, anyway, so get in.
Diggling forward a few months. Oh, do you know what? Put it up. But I actually think I watch a lot of podcasts and listen to podcasts, and I don't think I've heard anyone do it for only £1. And because we shout out our Patreons, and you get entered into a prize draw, which we will be doing today. And yeah, I think those benefits, usually it's at least £2.50. So I think we're fabulous.
We're fabulous. That's really good compared to the normal imposter syndrome I file. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
we're fabulous.
The high. A lot of confidence.
Do you know who else is fabulous?
Who?
These guys.
Yeah.
That's so corny. I mean it.
No, we do.
You do. Especially if you stick around. I really like you.
Like and subscribe, and even start to sponsor us for £1 a month.
If you look at the tier names on the Patreon, which we'll stop going on about them, stop holding or shaking our bucket out to you. One of the tiers is executive producer, where you get to be featured in the credits at the end, like a film.
Of every
Every episode.
Do shout out a different Patreon every single week, which we will be doing towards the end of the episode because we want to do a prize draw, and whoever wins that this episode will be dedicated to them.
Oh, have you subscribed yet? Oh, are you included? I'm excited. I love people that get the giveaways. Last month, the lucky winner, I got good feedback that the stuff was being enjoyed.
Yeah.
And that just makes me really happy.
These fidget
Loves a fidget toy.
affirmation cards in a little, I mean, the little pouch itself is just, it's handmade by my mum. And I think the pouch itself is like worth it, never mind the affirmation cards that are inside.
Oh, definitely.
These have been discontinued now, so it's like a limited edition.
Exactly. If you want to be that person that's like, I was here first.
So that's the thing, we do want to bring them back as merchandise in our shops. You know, these ones are completely limited edition. A badge, an anxiety booklet, and a different resolution guide, which we'll be moving on to in a mo, and a fabulous branded notebook, a different human design. And these have just gone through rebranding as well. I've literally just ordered some. So this again will be the last one of its kind before the new ones come out.
Oh, that's so cool. I love these notebooks as well. The quality is so good. What is it when you say the thread count of like a duvet cover? Is it the paper count?
I'm not
chip count.
GSM. It's grams per square meter. Is that what the GSM stands for?
I'll take GSM as a code on its own. We've had a comment, Lindsay. Straight to you by Kenny.
Yeah.
Lindsay, I just wanted to say thank you. You're an amazing human being. You done wonders for my Scott, and I will never forget it. My son Scott. Why did I say Scott? Oh my gosh. No, I haven't. Hence why I'm like, do you know what? I'm just gonna make life a bit easier and bring it over here. I never forget it. He has been diagnosed with ADHD and autism. Shout out, Kenny. That's so good to hear. I'm glad that you are getting along that journey, which we know is difficult. And shout out, Lindsay.
Thank you very much for coming on and saying that. That means the world. You know, when I get feedback from my private tutoring, it really does touch my heart because we were just chatting before this started about how exhausted we can get. So, you know, it makes it so worthwhile when we get comments like that we've actually helped. Something that we've done has been genuinely helpful.
Yeah, I think that a comment like that is the difference between being like, do we just pack this whole thing in? And like, I am re-energized. Let's keep going. We are helping.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That's really sweet, Kenny. I'm glad that Lindsay's been able to help you. And
see his name, just going to protect his identity a little bit, but
it's not Scott, and I've just
no, it's not Scott, but he was a really cool kid. I mean, this is so many years ago as well. I bet he's like,
oh wow,
I think he was only about 4 or something when I was working with him. So I bet he's really grown up and probably like 7 or 8 by now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so, you know what? I've always wanted to ask you, what is the oldest one of your students is now? And like, how old were they when you taught them?
Well, there's the likes of Casey and Ryan and those that lot. They were my first ever group. They were 15 or 16 when I first started working with them, and they are about 26, 27 now.
Wow.
Yeah, so that makes me feel incredibly old.
I didn't mean to do that to you. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Casey's just, I can't remember what his YouTube channel is, but he's just launched a bit of a music career. It turns out he's a fantastic singer. And Ryan runs Raw Talent recruitment agency. And he's always kind of promoting that on Facebook. And I always do whatever I can to, you know, to help him. And it's really nice to see him being so successful. Oh, talking of students and throwbacks, I had a student turn up at college last week. Just on the, you know, just off the cuff, he was walking past, and I think he must have thought, I'm going to go and say hello. And I think he said he was 18 now, so it's not that long since I had him, probably 3 years or something since he was in class. And it was so funny to see him. He was he come in the English classroom. I was like, come in, tell the kids what it's like going to work and stuff like that. And he was like, as long as you get up and get out of bed, work ethic, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, school, it doesn't really matter. I was like, no. I was like, that's enough of you, like shoving him back out the door. But it was really good for them to see this past student. And it just gave them that, oh my God, my life is going to move forward. And I am going to be in that position at some point. Because I think as a teenager, especially, it's so hard, isn't it, to understand that tomorrow is going to come.
The only perspective you've got is your very young brain that's still so unaware of what's ahead of you that you can't even conceive what that could be like. So to see that modeled, like, oh wow, I'm not destined for prison or hospital necessarily.
Even one of the lads sat and we're starting exams now, and we do functional skills, so slightly different steps to GCSE. And he's only now that he's sat doing the exam that what I've been repeatedly saying every single week for the past 6 months to a year is finally starting to go somewhere, sink in. Where he went,
Yeah.
I says, "Oh, you're going on holiday this year?" Yeah, I'm going on holiday. He's telling me about it. And then he says, "So when I come back off that holiday, what will I be doing then?" I don't know, mate, because you won't be my student anymore. You won't be school age anymore. That's my point. and you can see it. And he was like, "Oh no, don't freak me out." And it was finally it's realizing after that holiday there is no returning. That'll be it. Go to college, go into apprenticeship, go into the army, whatever. It's not going to be teachers there going, "Do you want a cup of tea?" and get to class and have you done this? Have you done that? And I just thought, oh my God, you feel like you're banging your head against a brick wall.
You know what? And it sounds really silly. Hearing it from an older perspective, you're like, how can you only just think that? But I did exactly the same thing.
And I did. And it's only through having that insight myself, which I think that's why it's so handy being an ADHD teacher. Because I at least can remember when I was that teenager and I was exactly the same. So it's like sometimes I have to take a deep breath and think, don't preach to them because you didn't listen to somebody preaching on. Just hope that you've given them enough to fall back on when the time comes.
It must be hard though, because you can see them approaching that moment, that pivotal moment that you could have gone left or right, and you're like, oh, if I'd have just, rather than being like, we'll make them go, no, I'm going to go and do that thing just because you've said don't do that. With some of these minds.
There's even I've had a couple of today, and it is a bit of a dry qualification, but at the end of the day it's another qualification and some of the stuff's really relevant, so I try to kind of really focus on the relevant stuff, but they've all got the answers to everything and I have to really remember, don't be triggered, it's no biggie to you. They think they know everything. Nothing you say is going to change their mind right now, and it's just the attitude, oh, I'll just smack them though, I'll just smack them. You won't know, and if you do, you'll be in prison. Like, oh, I ain't bothered. All my family's done time. I ain't bothered. You will be bothered when you're in prison and you've got no freedom and you're scared you're going to get boiling sugar water chucked at you. It's just, but there's no point me saying that. It's not going to go anywhere. So you just have to be like, oh, all right, yeah, okay. Let's just move on to the next thing.
And something will happen something will make that penny drop for themselves whatever that is, and that's the moment.
And I'd still rather be their safe person within the moment right now. And then even this kid, it did turn out, he says, oh, it's approaching my grandma's anniversary, and that's why he was a little bit like up there. And just the fact he opened up and told me that, I thought, that to me is testament of how far we've come together. Because when he first started probably about 2 months ago, he couldn't even get through a sentence about telling me to F off. So it's like to look at him now. Honestly, he was just so like volatile, so volatile.
Wow.
Now for him to say something as vulnerable as that, my grandma's anniversary is coming up and it's making me feel quite touchy. I was like, oh, you're noticing your own feelings and you're expressing, and there's so many positives to take.
They're the perfect example of so many people be like, oh, these teenagers, these nasty teenagers, and they're horrible. Oh God, they've got no respect these days. Like, these kids are hurt for whatever reason.
I have to remind you're the adult. You're meant to be the person that is more healed and is guiding them. Don't lower yourself to their level, because
that's gotta be hard when they're telling you to F off every sentence.
Weeks. One lad squared up to me. What did he call me? A silly bitch? But I was like, I know.
You know what? You're not wrong, mate. But
Yeah.
I just can't have you call at me in a lesson. Like, that's where we go wrong.
But then it's funny because he squared up out. Then another student's like, "I'll knock him out if he lays a finger on you." Like, oh god, no! Everybody calm down.
Everyone's emotions are too much right now.
Yeah.
We're just going to bring it back to the. That's really.
And then today we've had some girls kicking off, and they're not mine. They were kicking off at another teacher. But the trouble is, then when the teachers were getting a little bit aggravated back, they're like, "It's in your voice too."
Exactly.
The kids were, and I'm like, "Hold on." So I stepped in a little bit then. I said, "Hold on a minute. Everybody needs to take a chill pill." I said, "You're talking to them disrespectfully with a raised voice. They're only human. They're just reacting to you." And then they were told me to F off, and they stormed out as well. But sometimes you just have to let them go. You know, it's like, what can you? Just going back to my little boy that I was tutoring. He was 4, look, when I was first working with him.
It was 4 when you did.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the point then was that he'd started to verbalize and then had stopped.
Oh, okay. Very
So,
common
yeah,
autism trait.
Yeah. So speech and language things are just kind of building his confidence and playing lots of vocabulary games and things like that, and trying to get him to kind of get back on track again. So
Oh, that's so cool.
it's nice to hear that he's going through. Oh, he's been diagnosed as well, so that's really good. He's not even on that, because sometimes it's like this week I had this girl. She's so blatantly ADHD, like she just talks on a motor, just constantly, and there's so many other things going on. And I said to her, I said, "Have you got any diagnosis or anything?" No, she's not even involved with anything. And you just think, but why? Why are these kids being left without any answers, without any support? You know,
Just naughty kid that doesn't fit into mainstream
Yeah.
school. Nothing else. We're not. There's no doctors.
No, I mean, usually they end up with what we call an EHCP, which is an educational healthcare plan. But sometimes it's just done as SEMH, so social, emotional, mental health difficulties.
What is that? Just some like ominous.
Exactly, that's just the term until they get
I'll figure it out.
This is you're the problem child. You're the.
Oh, you're the professional that can't figure out what's wrong with me. How's it my fault? I was just born.
It's just heartbreaking, really heartbreaking. It's a really tough industry at the minute. 'Cause got all these kids coming through that have been through the COVID years, and
yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
What's that been like the last few years? I mean,
really, you can really see it. So we've got like kids coming up to GCSE leaving age, and they just don't seem mature enough to be leaving. And the other thing is, it's almost like they've got this attitude of, "Oh, I just can't wait to get school out of the way so I can go back to doing nothing." That's not how it works. It's only going to get worse. Like when people used to tell you school years are the easiest years of your life. It's like when you leave school, you're suddenly going to have to, nothing's going to be free anymore. You're going to have to pay for everything. You're going to have to find ways to fund that and pay for it. So yeah, it's just, I think that because they saw schools just shut down, for them, for us it was a shock because we've been around a lot longer, so we knew how serious it had to have been for them to take that action. For them, it was almost just like, "Oh well, it's okay. The world can just shut down if things don't work." And
it's not going to be happening again necessarily anytime soon. Not only will people not be as tolerant as the messages that the government are giving you, it's really not beneficial for the government to keep us in like that because we don't generate any money. We need to be. We are cattle and we need to be working as far as the government is concerned.
But social skills.
Because it's been relied on through Twitch streamers and people like. I know my brain's half broken from all the like stuff that's being said.
Well, that's the thing. I mental stuff. How do you think, year 5 to year 6 or year 5 to year 8 did or whatever, those kind of those years where they were suddenly 2 years out of school?
Is it like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get a job. Also, I don't know if I've got any mates. Now it's like, and I'm not a Twitch streamer. And it's like, don't base your life on that. But that looks like an easy, cool way to make money as a young person, right? Yeah. Why do you think I'm here doing this? Chasing the dream.
Really good as well. So in the chat box saying about the young student that I was working with, like his energy has been channeled into sport, but also the top pupil in the school with maths. And do you know what? That just makes my heart sing because it is about recognizing the strengths.
Yes.
And I keep saying again to my class, because some of them are brilliant at English, some of them are brilliant at maths. And they're not going to be brilliant at both. But they're very much taught that if you're not brilliant at everything, well, if you're not brilliant at maths and English, then you're a failure.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, and some of them aren't so good at maths or English, but they're absolutely wicked at drawing. They're wicked at putting things together, music, taking apart a car engine and putting it back together. And it's like, I'm just there, just desperately trying to build some level of self-worth inside of them.
Oh God, yeah. Sometimes it's just like the level of detail that they can focus in on that most people would just not be able to see. And it's like there's so many jobs, so many careers that would have been amazing for. Maths, I'm absolutely terrible at, but I know regularly teachers would be like, "Yeah, you can draw, but what are you wanting to do after that?" Not once did any of these teachers go, "Here's a list of cool jobs you could have
Yeah.
through drawing."
It was all very, you've got to go to university, which I was never planning on going to uni. So that immediately switched me off because I was like working at a restaurant and going through the managerial kind of structure there. And it was very much if you don't do these 3 jobs or whatever, you know, there's nothing else out there. And then as you get older, you think, oh my God, like even the design on this can, I loved art, you know, I love designing things. No one really ever spoke to me about product design and stuff
Exactly.
like that. That's crazy. So I keep going to say his name. He's 10 years old now. That means it was 6 years ago that I was tutoring him.
Oh, that's so
Wow,
good.
that time just. I was saying to Steph before we went on air, it's 5 years ago today that I landed in Magaluf. 5 years ago, and I was like, oh, I want to be on holiday now.
What did you say? It was your reunion after the 10 years.
15 years ago, I was in Magaluf and I worked there and I wrote my book, Maga High. And it was great fun, but it was also quite traumatic,
Yeah.
you know. And then obviously and I backdoored it as well. So I just I didn't tell anyone I was leaving. I just left my apartment, left my job early hours of the morning, just ran off with my suitcase down the street.
Same.
It's like the only way to escape. You didn't have one day off one time. Like, you know, it was getting to the point where I've been working solidly now for 6 weeks, 7 days a week, a split shift. I was working in the afternoon and in the night till 4 a.m. You know, it's like, how do I get out of this?
Wow.
And the people that I worked for owned the apartment. So if you didn't go to work or didn't work, they'd got access to you all the time. Yeah, it was like quite scary. So yeah.
Human trafficking almost.
Yeah. So then I was terrified at the idea of going back because you get seasonal workers, people that go back time after time, and they hated anyone that backdoored it because, you know, it's seen as disrespectful and not the thing to do. But there was no way of me if I told them when my flight was, they wanted you to work right up till your flight. And I just wanted a couple of days before I went home. You know, I was starting in a school when I got back. But yeah, so I waited 10 years to go back. And by then I'd released a book as well called Maga High, based on a girl that goes out there and works there. So yeah, I went back 10 years later, which was 5 years ago now, and revisited the bar where I'd worked, and like me and my brother went. But oh my God, like the first day we got so drunk that I woke up the next day and couldn't remember anything. I'd injured my leg really badly. Felt so rough, and just had this horrible feeling that everybody in Magaluf knew something about the night before that I couldn't remember.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like blackout drunk. So if you black out, usually you've done something horrific.
Right, yeah.
And oh,
That bad people are that embarrassed that they can't even bring it up to you.
oh, it was just like I'd gone out there to film loads. I wanted to film like bar crawls and, you know, get loads of really cool fun footage and do a book trailer and, you know, advertise my book through footage. Like, you know, imagine a book set in this place and like blah blah, fun read and all the rest of it. But like I say, first day got absolutely steaming, second day couldn't walk, felt rougher than a badger's arse, like the roughest I've ever felt in my life. Spent the next 2 days trying to drink through the hangover again. With a broken leg. Now, I don't even know if I broke it, but I could not walk on it. It was horrible. So,
I feel like these people didn't know you before drinking.
no, exactly.
These stories are really interesting.
It makes me think, had I have gone now with the head I've got on now, I'd have got the footage, I'd have enjoyed myself. I wouldn't have spent the whole time cringing, wondering like, what do these because we'd made friends with quite a lot of the workers on the first day because it was quite quiet this time of year.
Start of the season hasn't really started properly,
Yeah,
has it?
and it just felt like I felt like they were all whispering about us when they saw us again. Like, oh, there's that brother and sister, like the girl that fell down the stairs and broke her leg with her tits out. I don't know. I don't know what I did. So
You never found out what
no,
you could potentially have just been general drunk and no. Why not have the paranoia?
when I black, it's usually a horrid reason.
Just assume I've done something bad.
Yeah, oh, but it's just, isn't it? Like, if you drink to that point where you forget everything, you do feel horrendous because you're just thinking, well, what did I say? How was I behaving? What did I do?
I've very rarely blacked out in the sense that I don't remember anything that's happened. The next morning can be a little hazy, but generally throughout the next day, I'll gain the memory back. But I feel like this would be your ultimate test because you did New Year, you did Christmas, you did holiday to Tenerife.
Yeah.
You haven't done the place that cursed you originally, and that
Yeah.
is Magaluf. So I think we should take you, and then we really test your sobriety.
Yeah,
Not in a
definitely.
like let's break you kind of way. I'm not trying to do that.
I would love to, purely because, like, I found it quite a magical place as well. It wasn't like, you know, all hell or anything. So I wonder what it's like sober. In fact, one of the stories when we was at the bar on a bar crawl, they wouldn't let us move on because somebody had lost a finger on the rodeo bull. And they were like, until we find the finger, nobody's leaving. But I was like, why? What do they think we've done with the
Stole the finger.
ages on this bar crawl to the point where I was like, I'm just going to leave soon, you know, like, what's the point in us just staying in one bar?
Sing,
lost a finger.
sing digits.
Just about to make the most crudest joke ever then.
That's probably better than what I said.
No, I was going to say one finger. I don't want let me go find one. I don't want to be stuck here like
I flew all the way here for a double vodka and a finger, and it isn't what I quite had in mind. That's funny.
in the chat they're saying I had many a good night with your brother. Yeah, certainly. And I think it was a massive cock block going to Magaluf with my brother as well, as you can imagine. We needed t-shirts that said,
Oh yeah.
this is my...
I just realised, because obviously me looking at you, I know it was your brother, but the average Magaluffer has got no idea. I can imagine that is
this one lad that was chatting to us for ages, and I was kind of like flirting with him, and he didn't really like respond or reciprocate or whatever very much, but he was flirting a little bit, and then he like kept making jokes to my brother about like, oh yeah, like your missus or whatever, and we kept saying like, it's not like this is my brother or whatever. And then about, I don't know, an hour or something later, the penny finally, like, it made you realize how many people are in these conversations with you, but they're not actually taking in what you're saying.
added.
Like, he was worker. It wasn't, I think he was having our drink, but he wasn't drinking. And then we were like we were leaving or whatever to go and do whatever. And then he said something and it finally dropped and he was like, what, that's not your missus? And it was like he was realizing that the opportunity was about to walk on out the bar, like, bye. Like, and then he's putting it all together, like she was flirting with me, you know, like, oh my God. It unfolded. Me and my brother were like wetting ourselves walking off because he was like, oh my God, he is devastated now. It's finally dawned on him. I said, that just shows you he had it in his head so much that you were my fella that he wasn't even hearing us when we kept making the jokes about that's not my missus. Like, he was just like, you know, like not taking it in.
It wasn't that it was loud, because I feel like I've done that many times.
No,
If someone's talked to you, I've just gone, it's be a question.
Sitting at this table outside of a bar.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to go back and find these scenes of just like the most craziest, because they exist. We know Magaluf, you ain't gone sober. We can find them, but then just stick you in the middle, like with your book.
Yeah. Reading my book.
We can always promote the Jodie trilogy.
Out of places I've got robbed as well. I just go to all the places I got my bag nicked and
You know what? Like a walking tour of Jodie trilogy. You know, hire segways or them they have old people scooters now, don't they? No offense, that's a terrible term. Disability scooters. That is that a mobility scooters.
I was like, oh my God, I'm getting cancelled, quick.
The red phone. God damn it. Oh, she's redacted. She's redacted. She doesn't mean it. She said mobility.
No, that would be good. And definitely when we get loads of Patreon people subscribing to us, like our Patreon link is in there. When we get loads of Patreons and I don't have to teach full time and I've got a bit more time to be producing content, I want to write a follow-up to the Jodie trilogy. You know, I want to take
So cool.
Jodie was in her 20s when I wrote those books. So what would she be doing now that she's nearly 40? Who knows?
Jodie's got to be going sober, and I want to hear that perspective.
Exactly. See what she's up to as well.
I feel like, if anything, a trip to Magaluf will give you the inspiration you need, the writing material to, this is what it's like coming back sober.
What's that bar that's in Ibiza that everyone gets really dressed up to go to?
Cafe members.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there's an Ocean Beach in Magaluf now. So they're trying to bring the overall reputation back up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like after the COVID situation, people stopped going abroad as much, didn't they? But I think that's rising again now. Holiday home, like if you stay in the UK, got really expensive, but I think that's going down now as well. More people are going abroad again, so I feel like it is just an opportunity for.
Yeah, anyone wants to sponsor me on a sober trip abroad, I'm down.
I'll drink for the both of us. No, I'm joking. Still enjoying my sober year. Actually, summer will be the next test, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. It's just about getting out of that habit, isn't it, of thinking, oh, the sun's out, so that means I've got to have a drink. Like, you know, why have you? Where does that lead? Just have a normal drink.
You know, like it's just a refreshing drink in the sun. Like it doesn't have to be alcoholic. If anything, I can drive home after.
Yeah, that is definitely such a big allure being able to drive home. But it's that realization that I used to drink to give me the excuse to then misbehave. Or, but even I'm quite like, I get that feeling on a night out where I'm like, oh, I'm looking for mischief. And I just get that feeling without the alcohol now. It's bizarre. Yeah, it's like bizarre though. You know how
I want that feeling. What's looking for mischief mean? I want, right, first, two different questions. What does it mean as a drunk Lindsay? And what does it mean as a sober Lindsay?
I don't know, because they're the explorations that I've done over the last like year and a half, trying to work out what was what did it like, just having a laugh and being with certain people and maybe people I've got crushes on or something. Maybe that was the main key mischief.
Causing a little drama in the romance situation.
Yeah.
Is he looking? Is he speaking to her?
Some and the possibilities being endless. Like, you know, when you go on a night out, the possibilities are there, aren't there, for anything to happen? It's like,
I don't know. I feel like I just see there's a drink and some food, maybe,
Yeah.
and then some dancing, maybe a smoking area. I love this. It's to how I've ever thought about a night out, and I'm kind of, I want to experience it.
Well, but at first I thought it was the alcohol that I was looking forward to, but now that I've removed the alcohol and realized I still look forward to having a dance, having a laugh, having a bit of eye candy or whatever it is, that kind of the unknown, that gets me excited. And then at the end of the night, regardless of whether I drank or not, I feel gutted that the night's over. It's like I struggle to switch off and be like, now you've got to go to bed. I'm not, but I want to go back to the start and do it all over again.
It's almost like your addiction wasn't necessarily to the alcohol, it's to the good times that kind of come with it.
That realization that I'll still have the good times. I'm still having
I truly believe that you cannot solely have a problematic addiction to good times.
Well, like there was, now that I don't drink, there's certain things I'd putting myself in certain situations with certain people or doing things that I would never do now that I don't drink. And that was the toxic part that I'm so glad that I've let go of. Like, I know when to call it a night now.
Yeah.
I know when I've had enough, you know.
Reasonable safety, you know, you're an adult now. You've got certain boundaries that you know will keep you safe, and they're probably smarter to follow as an older person.
And it's like I still love just jumping in my car and being like, right, that's me. I've had enough. I'm going to go and get some nice food from Tesco on the way home and get in my comfies and sit on the sofa and wind down and go
Yes.
through my photos.
Go straight to bed when they get in.
No.
Like, I remember going out with someone, them literally being like, "Oh yeah, no." I was like, "Hey, what?" And my brain was like, "I can't drive home because I've had a drink. I'm supposed to be staying here, but you've gone to bed."
Yeah,
And I remember my brain being like, "No, no, no, no. I need to unpack the night. At least, if we're here together, or like."
yeah, pat the night. That's what you want to do, innit? You have to think about the stuff that's gone on that
Yeah,
night.
so much stuff that happened in the moment that you maybe couldn't get out, or like someone was stood there so you couldn't quite say it.
Yeah,
So he's
did
like,
you
"No,
see
did you
this?
see it? Yeah."
I find it harder now to go straight to bed after anything, even just because I'm so worked up. So on Friday we had our community get together,
Yes.
and there was like conversations, and a couple of people came along that I'd not seen for a while. So it was quite like high energy.
I forgot I'd completely missed Friday. Shout out to anyone that went. Apologies for missing you. Yeah, you had some really cool conversations,
Yeah,
right?
smiling. They were shocking conversations in the sense that we were talking about recovery. We were talking about some quite deep mental health issues. But the reason I'm smiling is because it felt so good to connect on that level, and the fact that people were so open about their problems and sharing and stuff like that.
Affiliation, connection, isn't it? It's like, God, I could share anything and feel safe right now. If
Yeah.
anything, it feels more safe to just let go and say it right now. And that sounds really nice.
And it was like, this is what I imagined when we first wanted to create that space, was that people would be able to open up, and this is going to sound weird, but the fact that there was two men there talking so openly and vulnerably as well, quite often it is female dominated, isn't it, these
yeah.
clubs? So yeah, it was so nice to see two men leading those conversations and just
Yeah.
openly talking about like cocaine addiction, alcoholism, um, suicidal thoughts, all of that kind of thing. It was really heartwarming. But
I like that.
I got with the club finishes at 9:30, and I don't think I went bed till like 2. I just couldn't wind down. Definitely, that's something that when I was drinking, you'd eventually pass out at least. Whereas now,
I'm just excited still.
yeah, I've got more energy than I've ever had before.
Again. I get that. And you know what we say about the Flamingo F parties? They finish so early, so you get to go home, have your Sunday dinner still or whatever. I'm still up really late. I'm just buzzing.
Yeah.
I'm going through all the footage. I'm
Yeah.
editing. I'm like, oh, I could put ideas for videos that I could make, which still haven't been done. They're still in my reel. That's what
The
I mean.
ideas are there.
Yeah, that first night, you got to get it done, because if you actually do fall asleep and go bed, then they stay in your
like,
drafts.
Like we were talking about demand avoidance, though, the minute I feel like I need to go to bed, I can feel the anxiety rising. It's like
I don't even.
I don't want to go to bed. Though.
If my body was a person, it'd be a child going. But it's good for us. Remember this morning we were like, right, early night so that we can get up. It's like, come on, for once, toddler inside me, inner child, inner toddler. I think that's what I've got.
Good conversation earlier about the fact that pathological demand avoidance seems to be way more prevalent in kids these days. But is it that this is an energy that we need to come through as the human race, because it's making us address and question, why do we need to do these things though? Why do we need to follow rules? Because just because we were taught a certain way and brought up a certain way doesn't mean it's the way. And maybe these energies are about making us change our ways, like I was drumming on today, but you just need to write this down, and I'm like, but why do they just need to write it down? So they can regurgitate it the same way I did and then forget all about it.
Yeah.
Actually, no, like when push comes to shove, they don't need to do that at all.
Yeah. These youngsters are so more like libertarian than we are. It's proper like, I can govern myself. I don't need next man telling me what's right and what's wrong. When you think about it, you're like, you do, because you've done 5 things wrong in just this conversation. But also, yeah, 100%. Once you get out of that teenage brain and you're a little more matured, I agree. Most of us don't really need that much policing.
Do you know what I've just thought? I don't think we even said it's our 50th episode today, like, and hence the. Oh, in fact, there was a decoration. Like, did it fall? Oh no, it's here. Here's the decoration.
It's another one here.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
that's the
show 'em that
decoration.
side.
But but yeah, it's our 50th episode today. Did we even open with that?
Why would we do that? Why would we remember to do something we had planned? That would be a neurotypical thing. We are neurodivergent.
Is that say it at the start? It's our 50th episode. How cool is that? Yeah,
So,
50. It's like a landmark moment.
yeah, it's weird because we're not 50 years in, it's 50 episodes. But like, since
We've been going for 50 years.
neurodivergence, but also if you want the cure to young, youthful skin. She's about 70. But yeah, 50 episodes. It's been insane. And to enjoy, because I feel like we need to talk about just the last 50 episodes and recap a bit. But to do this, you got us some energy drinks. And I'm so excited to share this. You're more than welcome to share it. I can pull the thing out, but
No, it's fine. I've got one.
I wanted to show. So this is Kim Kardashian.
She just wants Kim Kardashian to sponsor us. Hey Kim, if you're listening, girl.
I don't. I'd faint right now, just the very thought
Or
of
maybe
it.
when we drink like ultra hot.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she's got any catchphrase anymore. It just makes me think of Paris Hilton. That's hot. What's Kim Kardashian say? Just get up and work. What's that? What's that? We've all got the same 24 hours in a day. Just get the fuck up and
You
work.
definitely relying on the wrong person when it comes to knowing anything about reality TV stars. What's it taste like?
Amazing.
Does it?
I can't believe it's clear. You've got to try this. Him.
This one's quite sour. I just like the packaging. I'm very much a packaging person. You know, if something's
Yeah.
beautifully packaged.
Oh, it's not completely clear. It is kind of pink as well. I
Oh,
won't
I
give you
love-
too much because
love
it is.
pink.
This is on an
Pink.
low
This
caffeine.
might might send me over the edge. This one's lower caffeine, just so that make it clear. That is nice. It's. I was gonna say, oh, it's a bit like lemonade. It is called KIMADE, so it's like lemonade with Kim in there.
That would be the
Whatever
thing.
Kim tastes. I've tried it.
Tastes good. Sugar free, 140 milligrams of caffeine. There's a lot. It's gluten free. It's got biotin, B6, and B12 vitamins, and it's vegan. It's really cool. Shout out. I would give that.
I don't think it's necessarily good for you, but it was trending, so you know why not?
As ADHDers, we know that this caffeine will probably just give us a nice old nap.
Yeah.
Don't worry too much about that.
Just calm down now. I'm being hyper for the first episode. It's nice though. It's tangy.
Pink lemonade by Lucozade. That's what it tastes like to me.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Shout out Kim K.
Yeah,
Love
if you're
you.
watching, get over to our Patreons.
Well, shit.
Subscribe. Get onto our Patreons and become an executive.
Send the skims. I wear them every episode.
So it is our 50th episode. Have you got a favourite of all the episodes?
Do you know what? We've had a single sec. So how can I support? I need more ability to be able to see this chat. Or donate to your cause. I'm new to this. So, if you're wanting to donate, we have Patreon that you can subscribe to for as low as £1 a month, and the tiers go up and you get different perks. The link to that is in the description, but I've also put it at the top of the chat. I suppose I can pin this, can't I? Pin message, and then it should be available to everyone that wants to see it. You can follow the link through there. If it turns up in Spanish, I'm very sorry. For some reason in my computer it turns up in Spanish, but I've had confirmation from other people that it doesn't happen to them. So
yes, you can do a monthly pledge through Patreons. So that is the link that's in the chat. If you can't find it, then we'll have to send it to you, but I think if you scroll up in the chat, it's at the top.
Yeah, it'll
Hopefully.
be pinned.
So yeah, that's a monthly pledge that you can make. We absolutely would adore it if you could do that. We're going to be doing a prize draw in a moment, actually, to every single person that's ever has pledged to us, that is pledging to us. And the other way is to sponsor an episode. Anybody would like details on our sponsorship packages, we can send those to you.
Email us at a different podcast official at gmail.com.
Yeah, that's it. Just smiling because last week was a different line or something. I was like, no, it's not that.
Send you everywhere.
So yeah, your favorite episode, if you had to have a favorite episode.
Oh, there's a few. So for me, there's some that they stick out so much just because I was editing them. Some, not all of them were live podcasts, but the ones that were included in the podcast okay. Sedge will always stand out as like a top one for me.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's just because what she adds is such good value. It's like you can put that advice into action straight away, can't you?
there's people that today go back to that episode and are still commenting like, oh my god, I got so much from this episode, and I still get a load from him myself. So shout out to Sedge. I love that episode. Teo, I love going to the recording studio.
Yeah. It just felt so plush, didn't it?
Oh god, it was
glorious.
like, I've made it.
So calming and kind of knowledgeable, wasn't he? He was a very good guest.
He's a beautiful guest as well, like very easy on the eye, very helpful to be one of the first guests. Really appreciated him letting us come and hang out with him at the studio.
Yeah. What about getting tagged on camera?
Oh my word. James, shout out. We've had some awesome guests, haven't we? James was awesome, and he spent all day with us. I mean, you got 3 tattoos. I got 2 little ones. I was very happy. I still love my life rips. And she didn't think I was committed.
Yeah. This is so that she can never give up. ADP WLS. Oh yeah, a different podcast with Lindsay and Steph.
So many people go, what does that stand for? And as soon as they're like, interested.
That was because you were worried that like we both give up on projects quite easily, go being ADHD and all that. Like, right now you can't. Got it tattooed.
He will stick to this forever. Although I've realised after that it might have been added pressure that you didn't need to be like, oh god, now I'm stuck with it forever.
Clearly, it's going to be my vocation to just talk. I love talking. So, you know, any excuse to be sat here chatting away, I'm more than happy to be doing that.
It's almost my cheat code. I can like just look, you're equal if I just,
And then what about sleeping on the bus?
Oh god, that whole night was amazing. Anything that involves me like a little bit of pre-planning, a little bit of like this is my vision, and then a lot of just people tolerating me being like, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? Some weird YouTube things that they're just like, can I just enjoy my Halloween? And you're like, very soon. I appreciate. Thank you so much to the coven that joined us for that episode. That was so fun. It was a really nice off camera as well. There were so many moments that will stick with me forever.
Like sharing ghost stories and then walking through that cemetery at night and having a bit of a photo shoot. Been to that cemetery twice for photo shoots now, haven't we?
Yeah, that was another interesting one. The tree hugging that wasn't quite as like standard.
Yeah. Grounded myself. And my mum went, are you sure you don't want to give it an Anna hug? You know, like yeah. And then we both just started howling and she was like, that video cheers me up whenever I need a smile.
I confidence. Every time I watch it, I'm like, she was just like, I'm gonna be able to just koala myself on this tree.
Yeah.
And like, I you know, in someone's ability, and they're like, what's the like inhibition,
Yeah,
ambition. when someone's ambition and their ability don't quite line up.
Yeah.
Hey, I live in that part of life. Just for the like, if she was someone that I always saw climb trees, I'd be like, ah, yeah. Like, ah,
That rips round it and then just fully slipped off.
this you'd expect her face to be more like, ah. She's kind of just like, ooh.
Yeah. Don't think it's sunk in.
Oops.
It's not working. She's so committed. That didn't work.
Says it. Oh,
I mean, we caught that on camera actually, so that was worthwhile. I was thinking that's not on it's not on one of the podcast episodes, but it is on our social media. It's on mine and
we
yours.
did go over it. Like we did talk about it.
We probably did, but I don't think we ever shared that video of Anna falling. Not on one of these.
No, maybe we didn't.
One day, well, I mean, I've put together quite a few funny clips, but one day, action team.
We just say it. This would have been a perfect episode to have just like picked highlights from other these plans are all great. Thinking of them the day of. Like, oh God.
It's stress awareness month, so it's only right that we get into the swing of that by being totally stressed out.
How long have we got left of stress month?
Not long, because this time next week is the 1st of May. Can you believe it?
Gonna be
In
May.
fact, what has been your April intention, or
Okay.
has there been anything?
Yeah, so mine was to make decisions that were best for me.
So
Yeah, I think that's what's been making stuff extra hard because
big thing to start on when you say.
yeah, it's hard because what you want sometimes and what's best for you isn't always what lines up. And even though it's things you can try and avoid that feeling in the moment, try and you just got to face it without going into too much detail. Without boring you with it too much, to be honest. Yeah, it's just life altering. I think I mentioned on the last episode, it's just life altering stuff has been
Yeah.
happening this month.
And emails in particular to get to their early 30s and then to start really realizing how much they've put other people first their whole life, and then it's almost traumatizing to unpack all of that and start to go through it and realize, hold on, who am I and what do I want, and not feel
Yeah.
guilty for it.
I feel like I'm trying to like show myself that like prove to certain people that I am like I don't know, please see me in the best way you can. Please, and it's kind of like why is my efforts going to someone that's already
The
made
mindfulness,
yeah, long decided and I
You know,
just yeah.
it's that whole thing though of we naturally want people to like us or to understand us from a way that we
Yeah.
understand. Can't always control that. And actually, the more healed you are, the more people you will upset, because there's so many people out there that aren't healed.
Yeah, I've learned myself by standing my ground strong has just resulted in like more traumatic shit being thrown at me, and it's just like I just don't.
It's almost like I shared something today. I think it said, if you're a genuinely happy person, you will piss people off that are genuinely full of shit.
Is the thing is people that are full of shit, and I said I wasn't going to go into a tangent at this one. I am sick of people full of shit, and I feel like everywhere I turn, it's the government, it's employers, it's Rishi Sunak coming for your sick note.
Podcasts and music and stuff for the last few weeks, and I kind of reconnected with the headlines today, and I was like, "Are you kidding? Is this what you're all talking about?" Like,
Come back to work.
But yeah, I'm zoning back out again. It's over and out.
It's awful. It's all just terrible. Although I had a funny thought. Rishi Sunak, is he a secret leftist and he's just sabotaging conservatives? Like, you know, there's conservatives that are plenty of them that get sick notes and require that to get their life, right? You kind of full steam ahead, Rishi. Get Labour in. Ruin it for all of the conservatives.
I think a lot of us have just become so disillusioned with the whole idea of systems, whether it be the medical system, the education system, the political system. It's like people are just withdrawing now. They're just like, "Do you know what? Carry on, carry the circus on. Nothing to do with it."
Some people, you sit and have a conversation, they're like, well, this is shit. And you're like, yeah, it is shit, isn't it? And then them very same people will go and do the worst stuff. And you're like, wait, we just had a conversation about how government are, but you're also a lying sack of shit. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't get it.
welcome. Right, let's.
Oh, I forgot to ask what your favourite episode.
I was
Oh, wait.
saying, yeah, I was gonna say like.
I was about to, babe.
People on the bus.
They were cool ones.
Yeah, Leah's enjoyed getting into Avni.
I just want to talk to Avni again.
Yeah. Have all these plans, and we've got some really cool episodes actually coming up as well. Haven't we? A few guest booked in for the next couple of weeks. So we've been doing these live ones, and we've not done a pre-recorded one for a while. So it's going to be nice to kind of release some new, fresh material.
I love doing that with guests as well, because there's nothing worse than putting someone on the spotlight. Can we interview you? Also, you're live. What? That sounds terrifying. So I think it gives a nicer, chill environment, and then we get to upload it as a little extra special thing for you, and showcase these awesome people that.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I'm excited to talk to these people, let alone just spotlight them.
Yeah. So we're going to do the prize draw then.
The prize draw. I know it on the phone.
Yeah.
Sat here like, yep.
All of our Patreon pledgers, the people that pledge to us on Patreon, all of their names are in there. So it doesn't matter what tier they're on, whether they're £1, £5, £10, £25, everybody is equal. You've all got the same chance of winning these goodies, and we do the prize draw every month. So this is the second one.
The second one.
The second one.
That's so fun.
Oh, and whoever wins this whole episode was dedicated to you as well.
Nice. That's so sweet. I wanted it dedicated to me, but all right, you can have it.
Name's
It's all right then. Yeah, I'm a narcissist. Press the orange button.
Okay.
What does it say?
Where does it say it?
Oh.
Staffy! Oh, that's my friend Ryan Stafford. I don't know why it's not. Oh, there it is. We're focused in. Ryan Staff, you are the winner out of these goodies. So I'll be in touch and get them sent over to you. How exciting is that?
Oh, that's so exciting. In terms of this month's subscribers, the last of the Patreon tier, the second tier, will be going out tomorrow. So you should get yours by the end of the week at least.
There's a couple.
Yeah, definitely. I think one could be hand delivered tomorrow because they're very close to me. I'm not giving the thing out, so I can do that tomorrow. Patreon also comes out tomorrow.
Discord.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Like Patreon. It's because Patreon's up there. Discord is available from the £1 and upwards tiers. Come and join our private community where we can talk about things that are a little more
risky. We're not going to. Everyone.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can get more into detail. We can be more specific about, individual stories. Often with the chats going too fast on this one, we can struggle to hone in. But there, you can get our attention. If there's something you want to, a story you want to tell, you're like, hey, I think you want me on the podcast. Let us know. That's a place that you can come and talk to us and get advice from the community as well, not just us.
Because even as well, we've had a couple of comments recently on the videos, haven't we, about people are actually finding this podcast so helpful, and the Discord community will be all about that. Like, you're accessing a specialist teacher and a psychotherapist that are both ADHD and autistic themselves. So I know we come across daft sometimes, but we are this whole wealth of knowledge. So utilize that resource.
Yeah, we advocate for alternative, and we are the alternative.
Yeah,
100%. But yeah, that's for £1. Access to that for £1. You're losing money not signing up.
make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to us on the YouTube channel.
If you can, go over to the Patreon. It's tagged into the chat, pinned at the top, and it's also in the description below.
And then next week, maybe, I'm not sure what the overall topic will be, but we will definitely get back on track with our different guides and talk about what we're gonna, because it'll be the 1st of May next week. So it's like we can think intention we've kind of got for that month. Spring should be well and truly here by then.
Or
It's my birthday month as well.
if you yourself haven't got your a different resolution book, you can order your.
You can get it on
the
Amazon.
website.
But
From Amazon.
yeah, I'm gonna say we need to link it to the website. It's on my list of things to do with everything else. Actually, it's on my but yeah,
To-do list.
I just celebrate the things I do rather than focus on the things that I don't.
That's why you're not chronically depressed. Good for you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Like a sad note to end it on. Honestly, thank you so much. I would be depressed if I didn't have you guys.
It's to have you in the chat as well, Kenny.
Yeah, 100. Oh, to hear about a fellow past student of yours making great strides.
Progress.
Doing well at, what is it?
School.
It was sport and maths. So cool. Yeah, I want to hear more about how are your kids getting on. And do you know what? Round of applause to all these parents.
Indeed. And all these kids that made it through COVID.
Oh, God.
Still trying. So. Together.
Amen to you guys. So until next week, this is Lindsay.
And this is Steph.
We are a different human design.
And this is a different podcast.
And we hope you have a good night. Bye.
Bye.